Can you hear me? I just saw someone pop in on Instagram. Can you hear me through the mic? Can you give me a thumbs up? I am using a mic today on Instagram because I tend to notice on the replay, it's hard to hear me. So can you guys hear me? Give me a wave, give me a thumbs up. I don't want to be talking to no one. Make a comment if you can't hear me. I know we are live over here on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. Hello, everyone. And over here on Instagram, thank you for the thumbs up. Hopefully you can hear me better than normal with the mic. So good. Well, good morning, everyone. I was in Tampa last week and was doing a news segment at the time of this live. So therefore I wasn't here. Sorry, but it was fun. It was great to see Florida. I've never been to Florida before. So that was fun. And I had someone ask me the other day, they're like, how have you never been to Florida? I grew up on the West Coast. So our vacations were more West Coast driven. Like it was a lot to take a family to the East Coast. And I guess we just never went. So there you go. But I am here. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to pop in, say hello. Do I have anyone on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube? Can we get a good morning? A little early for you on the Pacific Coast. Any of you up in the Seattle area? Are you okay? I hear you have some serious storms up there. I grew up in Seattle, so, thinking of all of you that are up there. I know there's been a lot of power outages. Perhaps you can't even be here because of it, but I hope everyone is faring well. And thank you for the thumbs up over there on, I think, Facebook. I appreciate it. So I want to talk holidays today because I will tell you, I just started putting my holiday decorations up yesterday. And the reason I did, normally I wait until after Thanksgiving. Does anyone else have that rule? Normally I'm like, oh, got to hit Thanksgiving first, then put them up. But then I looked at the calendar and was like, oh my gosh, Thanksgiving is literally like the last couple days of November. I'm not going to have enough time to do everything I need to do and decorate. So I started decorating this week and I just pull out a little bit, like I do a fireplace and then, I do the Christmas tree a different day. And I'm just like batching my holiday decor. Any of you? But holiday stress is something that, holidays are hard for me because there's a lot of joy in memories of the holidays, but I have a lot of sadness around the holidays because I miss my family. Does anyone else have trouble over the holidays? I kind of wanted to unpack that a little bit. Of course, we have our usual Q&A, but I kind of wanted to see how many of you kind of have that mixed bag of emotion. And it's like, plus all the stuff around you, right? Us moms know, like I haven't started Christmas shopping yet. I haven't even looked at it. And Black Friday is next week. I do have something coming out for Black Friday, so we can talk about that as well. Am I streaming okay? You guys are kind of minimal out there today. Hi, Naya. How are you? Happy Friday. I'll give you guys a second to put in the chat any holiday stresses you might have, anything you want to talk about, some questions, and then we will jump into it. Oh, I dove into the pumpkin train today and made myself a pumpkin spice latte. Quiet today. Am I not streaming all right or what? What's going on? Where are you guys? Should I go home? Should I call it a day? All right, let's talk Black Friday then. So most of the time you guys ask me, do you have anything going on for Black Friday? Any sales? And I actually have something really cool I will be announcing next week that I would like all of you to be a part of. And the reason I want all of you to be a part of it is that you are the ones that show up on these live Q&As every Friday and ask questions. And I am building something amazing. And so I want to give all of you loyal followers and contributors a nice Black Friday surprise. So if you are someone that likes Black Friday, make sure you're watching your email and make sure you're watching my social feeds next week so that you can be a part of it. So I'm really excited. I'm just going to tease it because I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I really want you guys to check it out and be there and help me do something for Black Friday if you're open to it. So it is way quiet today. Nobody's asking any questions. So I'm going to give it a couple more minutes. And if you guys are like, sorry, Dr. Pingle, I'm too holiday stressed out, I don't want to talk about it, then I'm going to go decorate my Christmas tree. because I got things to do too. But I would love to have some questions, and I would love to talk about the holiday stress, because I do feel like we just accept it and we don't realize that there's something we can do about it. There's different ways to look at it where it isn't so stressful, right? Normally in past years, 10 years ago, whatever, I would have already had everything written out for Christmas. I would have had tons of to-do lists. I would have been on top of things. And this year I'm taking it a little bit more as I go. If I don't get all the Christmas decorations out, so be it. I'll get out what I get out, and I will make what I make for Thanksgiving, and I will make what I make for Christmas, and so be it. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, the holidays aren't about perfection, really. They're actually about lack of perfection, right? It's about, I mean, I look at like how it used to be for me in the holidays, which isn't how it is anymore, which is what's kind of sad about it. I miss it. Is it used to be a whole bunch of people piling into your house, and you're sleeping on some couch somewhere in someone's house, and everyone's getting together and cooking together, and it's messy and whatever. And you know, my holidays are a lot quieter now. And back then it was somewhat stressful, but at the same time, I miss it. Anyone else? Now it's like I wake up and it's kind of like, oh, very quiet. All right. Well, I guess I'll call it quits for the day. You guys are quiet today. Yeah. I'd love to teach you something if you'd like to ask a question. But you guys are so quiet. No comments, no likes. Can everyone hear me? Oh, now we have one. Thank you. For those of you just joining in, happy to talk holiday stress. Also happy to answer any other questions you have. I have a question about mushrooms. So let's talk about those. Okay, my nurse practitioner said certain types of mushroom taking long-term can be harmful to the liver, like reishi and cordyceps. Okay, so anything can be harmful to the liver in large doses when the body doesn't need it, right? So any herb can be toxic to the body over long periods of time. It really comes down to how you're using it and your current state. I personally take supplements that have mushrooms in them every single day. Now, I also check my liver enzymes, right? So if my liver enzymes started to go up, I would have to consider what's causing that. So I think some of the fear surrounding taking herbs with traditional providers is they say, well, this could be toxic. Well, so could the medication that this person's prescribing, right? I think the key comes down to really looking at liver health, really checking markers, screening markers, taking supplements that the body actually needs rather just for no reason. Medications are far more harmful to the liver than most herbs. However, that doesn't mean it can't happen, right? They can also be very beneficial to the liver in the right dose at the right time, right? So most of the supplements don't use it in really high dose. Now, if you were to take a tincture, let's say of reishi in really high amounts, let's say you're trying to use it as an anti-anxiety or something to that effect, and you're taking it in really high amounts, there's always a chance that you could go too high and cause problems with the liver, but no more damage than a benzodiazepine would have, right? So, you know what I mean? It's all relative. I see some new people jumping in. Good, because it's very quiet around here. I didn't even have an opening statement because I didn't get any feedback. So if you want me to keep going, start giving me feedback. Otherwise, I'm going to decorate my Christmas tree, right? Then I'm out. So as you guys join in, start asking some questions. I see some new people showing in on Instagram. Topic today, I was going to talk about some holiday stress and how to handle it. I do have Black Friday announcements, and I'm taking live questions. So if you want to throw some things out there, start throwing them out there to get me on a roll so I stick around, because I get really excited when you guys start asking me questions. Let's see. My husband and I both had blood work done, and we both had high bilirubin. Interesting. Our diets are 80% different, but the mushroom powder and mushroom powder protein are what our diets have in common. Well, had you checked bilirubin previously? Some people do have higher levels of bilirubin genetically. So I think it comes down to comparatives. I think also you could take the mushrooms out and try. However, could it be something else? Could it be a different thing that's in that particular mushroom supplement? You have to do a reassessment of everything that you're taking, right? And what were your baseline bilirubins before? We're cutting it out and going back in 4 weeks for a check. Good. Great. You know, look, everyone's individualized. So I think it's always important to remember that one supplement may not cause, well, will not cause the same reaction in everyone. So that's why it's always hard to give in the box recommendations. Like everybody should take medicinal mushrooms. Well, not necessarily. If you start taking something like that and your liver starts producing high bilirubin, it could be that your liver health was really efficient beforehand. And that particular supplement maybe isn't needed, right? Everyone is so different, and we can take these recommendations, but we do need to modify them slightly per the body's reaction and really lean into the body. There's also something that I've learned over my almost 20 years of practice, I guess at this point, is that people come in at different stages. So sometimes if I give liver support too early, it causes a reaction in people, where other people are at the stage where their liver is already doing okay, but it just needs a boost, and liver support is fantastic for them. And then you have people whose livers are completely optimized and the body reacts to the herbs because it's like, I don't need this, like I'm good. So I think you always have to look at the individual body, lean into it, listen to it, see what it says for you, because your body tells you what it needs. It shows you the deficiencies and it shows you the excesses, but you really have to get in tune with your body. So one of the first exercises that I try to do with my clients is really help them get the mindset around that the symptoms they're having are not bad. They're information. They're the body trying to point you in the right direction. And by listening to it and having gratitude for that, and really leaning into what the body is trying to say, you can actually get a lot farther, a lot faster, and know exactly what to do, right? Does that make sense to people? Thumbs up, hearts, yes. Resonating, tracking, with me, not with me, on vacation, already on holidays. People get me on that? It's really important. And I think the more and more we get overstimulated by society, thank you. We get all the overstimuli. I love the hearts. I really do. Thank you for the thumbs up. I love the interaction. I like to hear from you guys. The more and more we get overstimulated by our environment, the more and more we're scrolling social media, the more and more we're leaning on what other people are telling us to do, we're becoming disconnected with our body. Many of you know, when I became very disconnected and I finally recognized that I was completely disconnected from life, I went back to dance. And I would try to do a combo. You know, in my head, I heard, okay, on count 2, my arm should be here, but my arm wouldn't do it. Or I couldn't get there in time. My reaction time was not as quick as it used to be. And as I started to develop that muscle and really start to set into my body, and really focus in on what am I trying to allow my body to do, and trusting its natural movement rather than forcing it all the time, I started to learn choreography. I had to back off and lean in rather than think about it. And still to this day, if I find that I'm not picking up a routine, I usually find that I'm overthinking it. I'm trying too hard to hit that arm on 2 rather than just listen to the music, because the music is going to tell me where my arm needs to go. You learn this muscle memory over the course of 20 minutes as you learn a routine. You kind of do it over and over again, whatever. And then once you let go into the music, it just flows. And our health and our body is exactly the same way. We tend to overthink. Who's an overthinker? Anyone an overthinker? Come on. Give it to me. I am. Yes. Say I am. I'm an overthinker. I'm in. Yep. That's me. Thumbs up. Hearts. Anyone an overthinker? Do you overthink everything? I know you're out there. And now you're overthinking, saying, gosh, I can't admit it. If I admit it, she might call me out. Anyone? You guys are all just chill as a cucumber? 100%. Thank you. You guys are all just like, whatever. Yeah, it's good. I can't imagine that you're coming to listen to the Adrenal Whisperer and talk about stress if you don't find yourself suffering from some sort of stress. I am. Thank you. Overthinkers. Maybe we just have a lag today. I'm a recovering overthinker. I'm trying to catch myself in those moments and say, do I really have control over this outcome? And is this worth my energy to think about? Because most of the time it isn't, right? So that's something that dance did for me. I hear that a lot. You know, when my mom was dying of cancer, she went back to painting. And what she loved about painting is she would get so involved in the creative process that she wouldn't think about anything else. She would just let it flow. And whatever came out, came out. Could you imagine a life where you just let life flow? You know, you have drive, you have direction, you kind of know where you're trying to go. But when you hit obstacles, that you embrace them and run with it rather than fight them. What if we didn't fight? What if we just embraced? Right? Embraced the obstacles and gave it our best go, but we didn't fight. I hear this all the time. I had a conversation. I can't remember who it was with. I think it was on a podcast recently that I was doing. And, you know, I was talking about my mom and we were talking about cancer and how we use the word fight cancer. I can think of a lot of other words that maybe are less abrasive for that. You know, overcome, you know, maybe overcome cancer, you know, embrace the challenge, you know, improve upon my health, you know, navigate this time. You know, we tend to want to fight. And I don't know if that's necessarily the best thing for healing, because when you get in a fight response, in some respects, you're changing your adrenal health to downregulate your immune system, right? So sometimes it is good to embrace, listen, lean in, right? And often our body is more in tune in that moment and actually heals faster. So it was an interesting conversation. What do you guys think about that? Any cancer survivors out there? I find that the cancer survivors that I work with don't fight. They embrace. They run with it. They grow from it. And they recover, by the way. So I don't think we have to fight to recover. I think you can recover in so many different ways and maybe in a more resilient way. I don't know. Curious. I like to be mentally prepared for any kind of stress. So you're the one that's waiting for the bear, right, to appear behind the woods. Don't wait for the bear. The bear's coming. Who cares? It's a cute little cub. It's not going to eat you. So don't mentally prepare. You can't mentally prepare for stress, by the way, guys. That's absolutely impossible. Because if you're mentally preparing for it, you're already in a stress response. So now you're minimizing the reaction to the real stress. Now it's going to be an overwhelm response rather than an action response, right? Accept it. Move forward. Enjoy. A life without fear. I like it. All right. I see some questions about a liver. Let's talk about fatty liver. So the question is, I have fatty liver. What should I do? Well, number one of the best things you can do for fatty liver, if you haven't already, is overhaul your health. What are you eating? Exercise every day, right? So fatty liver or fatty deposits on the liver, that can happen from a wide variety of things, but inflammation is almost always present. I usually almost always find some sort of insulin issue as well. I don't know if you have metabolic disease or diabetes, or if you have high inflammatory markers, but if you haven't checked that, you should. So clean, whole diet. Mediterranean diet is great for that. Exercise every single day. Now, everyone exercises in a different way. What does that mean? For me, it means movement. We need to move. We need to build muscle mass. We need to make a concerted effort towards taking care of our body and allowing it to move. I was really bummed last night. You have to rest sometimes too. Last night, I somehow, Wednesday, I must have just slept on my neck wrong. I don't know if I have a rotation or something in my neck. I've already called my chiropractor to get in, but and I have a massage today, thank goodness, but my neck and my shoulder were like in severe pain to a point that when I'm turning my head, I really don't have full movement going this way today. Do I have it the other way? Yeah. So I skipped dance last night. It was time to rest. I really wanted to go, right? In general, I say push through, but it's also knowing how to listen to your body and work with your body and keep it moving, but also know when it needs recovery. These are things that will help fatty liver. So will water. Now, I will caution you, I tend to use liver herbs as well. However, I have investigated all of this. I have started the person on the diet and exercise regimen before I do that, and I'm monitoring it. I have seen liver herbs make things worse in that case if you're not paying attention to the lifestyle issue. So start with the lifestyle issue. My book has some lifestyle issue stuff in it. But of course it's out of stock on my store. That's a problem. I got to send that in. You can get it on Amazon. Total Health Turnaround. You can get it on Amazon. I hope that helps. Right? Hello to all of you just joining. It's a live Q&A. Dr. Tricia Pingle. We're kind of surrounding holiday stress a little, but I'm open to any question. We've kind of already started talking about liver. I'm happy to continue on that. It looks like people are finally showing up now. You guys are all running late today. I do have a cool Black Friday announcement coming out next week. For all of you that are loyal to me, you show up. I want you to help me do something, and I'm going to give you a very strong incentive to do so for Black Friday. I'm actually really excited about it, and it's a huge announcement, and I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't want to spoil it, but if you could check your email next week and also check the social media, I will announce it. Let's see. I'm not waiting for the bear. I just like to have a plan for when the bear gets there. But why? Why? What if the bear is the plan? Ever think about it that way? So if you've taken the time to minimize the unnecessary bears, right? You've done my steps where you say, okay, whenever something comes along, do I have control over the outcome? Is this worth my energy? By answering those two questions, you either take it on, delegate it to someone else, or let it go. So you've just delegated and let go probably 80% of your bears, right? So now you're only handling the 20% of your bears. Now those 20% are something that you can control the outcome and it's worth your energy. So it's going to be fairly easy to handle because you control the outcome, right? And it's worth your time. So if you've done that effectively, then any bear that comes along from that point is meant to come. It's there for a reason. You're supposed to deal with it then. And it's for growth because you have control over the outcome. So I would argue that if you want to be prepared for bears and you're kind of thinking the path ahead of time, that you might be taking on things that you don't have control of the outcome over, or that you're trying to control the outcome when it may not be something worth your energy to control. Does that make sense? You know, you can take a lot of precautions, but that might not be the outcome that's supposed to happen. So we're trying to create an outcome before we have a problem. And that doesn't work. It never works. I'm constantly in development of things. I don't finish things all the time because I test them and see if they work and then I move forward, right? So it's one thing to imagine an outcome, but to put a lot of energy towards it, might not be worth it, right? And Naya, I know you do a really good job at this type of thing because you've been here a long time, right? I'm just putting that out there. Maybe that will resonate with someone else. If you always feel like you're having to prepare for stress, you might be taking on stress that really isn't worth your energy, because you shouldn't have to prepare. If you have control over the outcome and it's worth your energy, you will naturally know what to do. It won't be a hassle, right? I have control over what menu I plan for Thanksgiving. I can make it completely difficult for me and worry about everybody else, or I can just do what I do. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do what I do. Whatever I do best, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to delegate the stuff that I don't cook well, like stuffing and pumpkin pie and mashed potatoes, with milk. My husband's going to make that one. I delegated that because I don't eat that. So I don't know what to do with it. I'm just going to delegate it. Not worth my energy. And I don't enjoy it, but I can make some roasted vegetables like nobody's business in my sleep. So I'm going to do those, right? Little things, right? Does that help? Or are you like, yeah, whatever, Pingle? Good morning, Jim. How are you? Can you write down what EPI is, please? Sometimes abbreviations cross multiple platforms and I don't do well with abbreviations. In fact, we just created a reel where my social media manager used an abbreviation and I was like, I don't know what that means. And the funny thing is that the target was to millennial and I'm not millennial. So I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. It was like IYK IYK or something. And I was like, I have no idea what that is. I'm old. Thank you. What do I do for hyperkinetic gallbladder but constipated? I know there's a lot going on in your medical picture. And I so appreciate you showing up every week and asking, but I have to keep saying, you need to do some really extensive lab work because I don't know the whole picture, right? So if we've got a hyperkinetic gallbladder, but you're constipated, well, the hyperkinetic gallbladder is releasing bile to break things down, but you're not removing those toxins from your system for some reason, right? So you can't really do much about the gallbladder until the constipation is resolved, right? Because you can take a bunch of stuff to push the gallbladder or slow the gallbladder, but either way, you have to be eliminating those toxins, right? Losing a lot of weight, and exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, right? So what it sounds like is in the gallbladder and the pancreas, there are not enough enzymes. Maybe there's the bile and the enzyme balance is off. You can take digestive enzymes for this. You can take pancreatic enzymes. Those are available in supplements. I have them on my store. I really do. So you can look at Total Health Apothecary and type in enzymes, and you will see a lot of digestive enzymes in there, which can absolutely help. However, you have to be going to the bathroom. So, I don't know. I hate to suggest laxatives to people because obviously you don't want to have a dependence on laxatives, but there are things like colonics. Have you ever done colonics and just cleared that entire thing out, right? And then kind of started over again? Have you tried something like Cellcore Bowel Mover or the Cellcore, foundational protocols and things like that? Have you done parasitic and gut immune reboots? Those are things you do with a physician, but those functional medicine and naturopathic doctors are going to know how to do that, right? Colonics. Okay, so if you're going to the bathroom, what are the enzymes names? I don't have them on my, let me see if I can pull it up for you. I'll look, hang on. Let's see. So if I just go in and I type in enzyme and I hit search, you will see a bunch of digestive enzymes show up. There is one from Thorne called Advanced Digestive Enzymes that has hydrochloric acid in it. Now, why would you take one with hydrochloric acid? Because the acid in the stomach is low. So you have to determine, do I need acid or not? When you take apple cider vinegar, does it help or harm? If you can take apple cider vinegar, you probably can take an enzyme with acid in it. If you want to try one without acid in it, there are other ones in here as well. Digestive Enzymes Ultra is a good one. I think CT-Zyme. I have a ton of them on my website, quite a few. Okay. Let's see. IYKYK, if you know, you know. Yeah, she had to tell me because I was like, I don't even know what I don't get it. And she's like, well, you're not your target here, are you? I was like, yeah, you're right. Like I'd have to write it out. I'm old. I'm almost 50. Like, I don't know. My kids do that. I finally figured out ALR. All right. Like on the text thread, like sometimes I have to, my 16-year-old doesn't use those as much, but my 13-year-old, half the time I have no idea what he's saying to me in text. I'm like, dude, you got to write it out. Like, I don't get you. You're coming in the nick of time. Hello. I'll get your question in just a second, love. Do these include pancreatic enzymes? Yeah. Lipase, amylase. I mean, you have to look. They're all a little bit different. Read the back label, but they should. The Biodigester, the Thorne one, I believe has everything. And the Digestive Enzymes Ultra as well. That's what pancreatic enzymes are. All the enzymes that we use in digestion. That's what they do. You obviously have a very complicated history. I'm not using this as medical advice. I'm just educating you on what types of supplements might be available for you to discuss. Okay, so there's the disclaimer. Please don't take a supplement without looking at your medical history and talking to your provider. All I can do is educate on what's available because I feel like we don't have that. I feel like You go to the doctor and you say, what can I do? And they say, oh, nothing, right? So that's not true. There are things you can do. So I'm just trying to educate you on kind of a different approach and a different way to look at it so that you have that knowledge. Yeah. Cool, cool, cool. Can you provide help with knowing how to tell allergies from cold or flu? I often think about those who I may infect. Well, number one, do you have a fever? Right? Number two, is it ridiculously chronic? Like, do you see it's in allergy season? I think fever is a really important aspect because you will not see that in allergies, right? There's a product by Cellcore. Talk to your doctor about it. Take a look on my website and look at it. It's called Cytoimmune. I've been playing with that. It has a black cumin seed. It has some carbon in it. I have found that it helps overall with kind of keeping everything at bay. There's also a supplement called Drainage Activator, which will help drain the sinuses. So when you first start taking it, you will drain. Okay, so you're not sick, it's just draining. But if you can stay on top of that, often the allergic response won't be as massive, or those signs from that won't be as massive. But, if you have a fever, it's a cold or flu. The problem is colds don't have a fever. I get it, but it is a different level. It's not just a chronic runny nose or a chronic cough, right? There's usually some sort of heavier illness in the beginning of a cold and flu, and then there's a residual cough or runny nose, versus allergies may just be the same level all the time. Also looking at the pollen count. But Cytoimmune and Drainage Activator, I'm just going to warn you all, once you talk to your doctor about this, if you start taking Drainage Activator, you will drain. So don't be alarmed. It will go away once you're empty. Just want to know the difference. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say. It really is. It's hard to say. I usually keep my distance a little bit of something like that starting, and then usually within a couple days, I know whether it's progressing, right? A cold usually won't be the same level all the time. It'll get worse or better, right? I hope that helps. It's always great to see you. Thank you. Same to you. You are always a blessing in my life right now. Thank you. Make sure you watch next week on emails and social media, because I have a special Black Friday for all of you that have been here, loyal followers that want to help me build something. Because I want to build something for you, the people that show up, that get value. I want to build something for you, not for somebody else. I want to build it for you guys right here. So I really want your help with that. And I'm going to give you a nice Black Friday offer to do that, to just be a part of it. So keep a lookout. Is there a value to taking digestive enzymes twice a day? You should take digestive enzymes with every single meal, because the point is for it to break down the food, right? That's the point. So you take it with every single meal at the beginning of the meal, ideally. If you forget, take it at the end, but you would take it before every meal. Yeah? Is silica a concern in supplements? Is it nano? Yeah, so here's the problem with some of the supplements. And sometimes they have to use such a tiny amount. I don't love having additives in supplements, but sometimes there's an issue with trying to keep it stabilized and they have to use things. I look overall at the supplements processes and like if they're triple checking, if they have studies behind it, that type of thing, as opposed to just throwing a bunch of stuff together. There have been some supplements where I have had to accept some sort of silica in it because it's still a better supplement than its alternatives on the market. So it's not an over concern, particularly if you are clearing toxins well and you are eating well and you are exercising. However, there may be some people who have some sort of toxicities where you would want to avoid that completely. But, there are some issues. I mean, we have to stabilize supplements somehow. And sometimes we have these options of, 10 different things, and we have to pick the one that's the minimal or the one that is the least offensive in order to get the supplement together, right? That's the hard part with some of those. It's kind of like if you want to do a liquid vitamin, there's always going to be some sort of sugar in it. Now, the source of sugar may differ, right? Which one you pick. On that note, will you be here next week live? Do you want me to be? How many of you would show up knowing it's a holiday? It's Black Friday. How many of you would show up? Because I'm happy to show up next Friday. if you guys are going to be here. If you're not going to be here, I won't. You're welcome. Clearly, Lex. My 18-year-old daughter hasn't had a period since September. She deals with anxiety and depression. She's currently in treatment for both. I've done some research and I've come to the conclusion it's, okay, finish that out. All right, maybe come to the conclusion it's stress. Yeah, cortisol will absolutely mess with hormones. Well, I'll just kind of run on this. If it's a different thing, go ahead and pop it down. Cortisol will impact hormones, and cortisol causes anxiety and depression. And it's great to look at the source of that, but you also have to look at, when you're looking at hormones, you also have to look at the adrenal hormones, the thyroid hormones, the blood sugars. You have to look at the nutritional status, because when we're under stress, we deplete B vitamins, we deplete minerals, we change our microbiome. All of these have an impact on our neurotransmitters, right? They all do. In the younger generations, I don't know if she's on social media a lot, but a lot of the scrolling is causing a dopamine and serotonin imbalance that needs to be looked at. That's a stress response. So I would suggest, if you haven't already, check out my lab list. It's in my link in bio. You can go there and download the lab list. It's a general lab list for everyone. I think even if you comment and you say labs, it'll send it to you. My little social media bot will send you the lab list in DMs, I think. Not on YouTube, though. On YouTube, you'll have to go to probably my social media channels to get it. I don't know if I have it on my website. It will be on my new website. I'm redoing my website right now. So, it's really important to look at everything, because when we're under stress, we deplete nutrients. When we deplete nutrients, we impact serotonin. When we're scrolling all the time, we're raising dopamine. The opposite of dopamine is serotonin. So if your dopamine's too high, your serotonin will relatively drop. So we need to look at that. So a lot of the times we're giving these medications like serotonin reuptake inhibitors to bring the serotonin up, but we're continuing to dopamine scroll. So what's going to happen? We're going to continue to need more medication, but we're never actually looking at where the root cause is. I have a program, actually, if you would like to look at it. It's DIY. Call my office, text my office, send a message through drpingle.com for the Total Anxiety Turnaround. It's a do-it-yourself program that talks a lot about this, gives daily mindset tips. There's some breathing resources. There's some education in there about how anxiety happens and how stress plays a role in that. I think it may be great for your daughter. So, or for you to learn about it. So, I don't have it on my website for purchase, but it is available. So if you reach out to my team, they can get you into it immediately. Yeah. That's a great thing for the holidays as well. You know, on that note, so I've asked, should I come next week? Show up. I'll be here next Friday. If not, you're decorating. All right, I'll be here. If you guys will be here, I'll be here. How about this? I'll show up at my usual time. And if people haven't showed up within 10 minutes, I'm out. How about that? So show up at 9:15 Arizona time, which is 8:15 Pacific, 11:15 Eastern next Friday, and I will be here for you. How about that? I have noticed that I'm sensitive to smell every so often. Could it be related to hormones or caused by something else? A little bit of both. I've always been sensitive to smell. At first, I thought something was wrong with me, and then I thought, no, my body's trying to clue me into things that I don't want to breathe. I actually take it as a gratitude moment. I'm like, oh, thanks for letting me smell that garbage. I should be taking it out, you know? Or I can smell illness. It's a really weird trait I have. Maybe it's from med school. I can smell strep throat from about 20 feet away. When I used to do kids as a family practitioner, they could walk in the room. I didn't even have to look in their throat. I'm like, they have strep throat. Like, I just knew. And that was, maybe my body was like, don't get near that person. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe it's something to lean into and ask your body why it's making you more sensitive to those smells. Is there a reason? Just a different thought. How do we reach our team? drpingle.com. You can submit through the website. You can also call 602-845-8949 or text 602-845-8949. and just ask, just say, Dr. Pingle was talking about the anxiety program. Can you give me more information? Or through my website, always drpingle.com. You can try to DM if you want through social media, but I have an autoresponder in there, and sometimes I know it gets confusing. I don't want you to feel like we don't have someone to answer your questions. We do. It's just the amount of DMs that I get is starting to become a problem. I love it, but at the same time, I'm a little slow because my team and I both try to share that responsibility, and it's a bit much. But if you reach out directly to my office, I have someone there Monday through Friday that does check messages. They check phone calls, they check texts, and they don't sit there for 8 hours a day. They have blocked times, but they will get back to you and give you information. Okay? Cool? Cool. I react to fragrances, heavy perfumes with watery eyes and burning in my eyes. Is there anything to help with chemical sensitivities? I think it's interesting. I don't react to essential oils. Like I have the diffuser, like a waterless diffuser with essential oil based stuff, and I don't react to that. But if somebody wears a perfume, or like if I'm doing a photo shoot with someone uses makeup that's perfumed, like MAC is one of the worst for me. If they put that on me, my nose will run the entire time. So I actually bring my own makeup. I think my body has just become hypersensitized to that. I have checked. I don't have an allergic reaction to it. So think about this. It's not that I have an allergic reaction. I used to be able to wear that stuff all the time. I think it's that my body is so clean now that it literally doesn't want toxin. So the minute that it's exposed to it, it just starts draining. It's like, get out. I don't want you. Go away. So I just take gratitude for that, and I listen, and I'm like, okay, whatever that was, my body said no. So I'm going to try to avoid that, especially if it's temporary, if you can pinpoint what it is, right? I'm smoking a turkey, and smoking meats make me happy. Well, that's good. Do you want me to go into the research on smoking meats? Probably not. I'll probably bum you out. Not the best way to prepare meat. But what I'm happy about is it makes you happy. That's good. That's good. Exactly. Naya says fragrance and perfume are toxic. Your body is trying to warn you. I agree. I agree. I see the question on constipation. It's a great question. I'm going to come right back to it. I'm just going to catch up here and make sure. What causes need for digestive enzymes? Low release of enzymes. So I took digestive enzymes for years, not because I had a pancreatic insufficiency, right? Not because I was diagnosed with anything, but because I was under so much stress that my body was always in fight or flight. And if you're in fight or flight, your body won't release enzymes, even if it has them, because it's running from a bear. Once I calmed my body, spent more time in parasympathetic state, my enzymes started to be released. I was able to come off digestive enzymes. And after using digestive enzymes for 10 years straight with every single meal and still having some issues, I have now been without enzymes for 4 years. Yay. Simply by addressing my stress response and really focusing on nutrition, lowering toxic load, taking things off my plate, and allowing my body to do its job. A lot of people don't realize how much cortisol impacts your digestive system. They go hand in hand. And then when you're not absorbing nutrients, that causes more stress on the body, right? So now there's more cortisol release. You spend more time in fight or flight. You have to not only heal the digestion and the nutrients, but you also have to address the stress response. It is pivotal. Do you have my book? Read my book. Total Health Turnaround. Give it to yourself for Thanksgiving or for Christmas from Amazon. By the way, totally tried to do a sale on my book on Amazon. It doesn't work that way. They don't let me. I couldn't figure it out. But it's not expensive. I think it's $25. It's huge. It will take you time to get through. But it's a great start, and it has a plan, and it teaches you about how stress impacts the gut and digestion. And I think that's really, really important. When I launch my next program, definitely take a look at that, because I do a live component of that as well. I just don't have one. No, don't you dare ruin it. I know. All right. I won't tell you about smoked meats, but just making sure. Oh, I have a lot of questions here. Okay, let me keep rolling through because I know I got to log off in a second. Definition of constipation. Here's the thing. Technically, the medical definition of constipation is you go every 3 days. That is absolute baloney. How is that possible? Now, with that said, really hard to say you should go after every meal. A baby, you're going to see them go after every meal, right? We run around, our hormones move around, we have jobs, whatever. Maybe we can't go to the bathroom well at our office, whatever. But we should be eliminating a very large volume. So if you're going once a day or twice a day, it should be significant, right? So you may hold it and not go as often. So you'll either go more often in smaller amounts or you'll go in a very large amount. You definitely should be going every day. I prefer twice a day if possible, but it should be very large and equivalent to what you're eating, right? If you're eating a food, you should be eliminating food, right? So that's my definition. How do you tell if B vitamins you are taking are methylated or not? I take Garden of Life B complex and wondering if they're methylated. That's a food-based, so it would be an activated B vitamin. I don't mind Garden of Life at all. I will say they're definitely more for maintenance than they are for physiological change. So what I do is I often do a methylated higher dose to get people in line and then put them on something like that for maintenance. Do you think all plant-based vegans should take an omega-3 supplement, or can you get adequate amounts through flax, hemp, and walnuts? If you're a plant-based vegan, you should be getting plenty of fat. If you are, I don't think vegans need to take omega-3s. One of the beauties of a plant-based diet, if you're doing it correctly, is you get a lot of good fat. Where you have to really struggle is protein, right? Because your fat ratio will be higher than your protein. Because if you do a plant-based protein like a nut, you're getting a ton of fat with that protein. So where I find is that we have to supplement pure protein, sometimes in supplements or amino acids, things like that on top of that, because we get such a large amount of fat and carbohydrate naturally in our food. So that's where I find the deficiencies lie. Certainly not fats. You could probably overdo it. If you're doing a really good vegan diet, you'll probably overdo it with an omega-3, to be honest. Not to mention they're also usually fish, right? Need to leave. Thank you so much. Grateful. All right. See you. Can you repeat the number? 602-845-8949. By the way, it's on my website, drpingle.com. Everything's on my website, drpingle.com. Ever have a question? Go to drpingle.com, right? Magnesium glycinate, 600 to 800 a day for a month. Will that help constipation? I hate Magox. I think you've mentioned that before and said it didn't work for you. But yeah, that's what I would do. And add vitamin C to it. Appreciate you. All right, thank you. I appreciate you. Maybe I'll ask 9-10, but I don't know when to start detox. I mean, there's no optimal time. I think anytime you want to support your body in a favorable way is a good time. I did the foundational protocol from Cellcore. That is on my website, by the way, Total Health Apothecary. If you can't remember all these names, just go to drpingle.com, click on store. It's just gonna be that simple too. The foundational protocol from Cellcore is what I did. And that was 4 months. And I just ate clean. I didn't have to restrict anything, just ate clean, which I do anyway. Happy Thanksgiving. Book is fantastic. Oh, thank you. Okay. The consensus is I should be here next week. Also, Black Friday sale. I do have one very specific to those of you that show up, that are here, that follow me, that contribute, that ask questions, that show up to my masterclasses, that try to educate yourself as much as possible. I have a great Black Friday offer for you, and I will be releasing it next week. So watch your email, watch the social media feeds, okay? And I will be here next week at the usual time. And if you guys show up, we'll do this. If you don't show up, I'll take off and go decorate the Christmas tree. Okay. I want you all to have a happy Thanksgiving. I will see you next Friday and I will talk to you soon. Thanks all. Bye.